Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We dig through the noise to find the signals, the stories that matter.
That's right.
And today, we're doing something a little different, our source material. It's excerpts from a stand-up comedy special.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
It really is. We're not just here for the laughs, though. We're peeling back the layers, looking at how this comedian uses his story, his identity, his face, his struggles to say something profound.
Exactly, because comedy, well, it often gets brushed off as just entertainment, right?
Yeah.
But it can be this incredibly powerful way to explore really complex things, personal stuff, societal issues.
Yeah.
And this performer, he uses humor to process, everything from cultural clashes, personal anxieties, even historical trauma in a way that honestly connects with all of us.
Absolutely. So our mission today, we want to pull out the key insights from this performance. We want to show you how humor can be, well, a tool for self-expression, yeah, but also for some really sharp social commentary. Ready to dive in.
Let's do it. The unconventional path, challenging expectations and finding your voice.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Our comedian talks about his time in an Islamic private school. And right away, his dream of doing comedy met with, let's just say, disbelief.
Yeah, that doesn't sound surprising in that context.
He tells this story about a teacher who asked him point blank, did he want people to laugh at Muslims? And his answer, just, yeah, kind of.
Wow, that's quite a bold response for a kid in that setting.
Right.
It really highlights that potential clash, between maybe a more traditional religious upbringing and a career path like comedy, which some might see as, frivolous, disrespectful even.
Absolutely.
But often that kind of pushback, it doesn't actually stop creative people. Sometimes it's the opposite. It becomes this major catalyst. It fuels them.
And it wasn't just one teacher. He tells this even more intense story, but the imam, the religious leader.
Oh.
Yeah, the imam takes him aside, really stern, and basically warns him, you think life is funny. On the day of judgment, you will not be laughing. Heavy stuff.
That's incredibly heavy. You'd think that would scare someone straight, right?
You would. But he says it just made me want to do it even more. What is that reaction against authority?
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's more than just simple defiance, I think. It's like when someone in power, especially moral authority, tells you no, it can actually solidify your own internal conviction. Like, okay, this is really my path then. And he even mentions finding inspiration in rap lyrics about proving doubters wrong. That's a classic narrative, right? Turning negativity into fuel.
Yeah, the underdog story.
Exactly. That desire to prove them wrong becomes part of the drive.
And he keeps it real, too. He jokes about his big dream, flexing on those teachers someday, like making this huge success statement.
The big arrival moment.
But then the punchline is, he's still living with his parents. And he's never hungry because his mom is always cutting up fruit for him and bringing it to his room.
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
It's so relatable, right?
Yeah.
That gap between the big dream and the slightly less glamorous reality of actually getting there, it's endearing, too. Identity, family, and the weight of other people's perceptions.
That contrast is great. And it seems like family is a huge theme for him.
Oh, definitely. He shifts focus then to his family life, especially his mother. He explains she wears a hijab, which makes her visibly Muslim in a way he isn't necessarily.
Yeah.
And he shares this really harrowing story she told him about being in traffic, and some guy sees her hijab, flips her off, and then actually follows her for a while.
Wow, that's terrifying. Just awful.
It is.
And it really speaks to that burden, doesn't it? When a visible part of your identity, something that's about pride and faith, makes you a target.
Exactly.
There's this constant underlying stress that so many people navigate balancing, expressing who you are with just basic personal safety.
And his mom's response to this whole ordeal, it's incredibly powerful. She tells him flat out, Malik, I would rather die a martyr than let those people change me.
Wow. That's intense conviction.
Totally. And you can hear the conflict in his voice when he talks about it. He's immensely proud of her strength. He says, I don't want her to change anything about herself. But at the same time, he's obviously deeply worried for her safety.
Of course. That's such a difficult position to be in.
Yeah.
That tension, wanting to protect someone you love, but also respecting their choices, their core beliefs, even if those beliefs put them, potentially in harm's way. It's a fundamental human dilemma.
So how does he deal with that feeling?
Yeah.
That helplessness?
Through humor, brilliantly, he comes up with these satirical concepts for hate crime-proof hijabs.
Like the Confederate flag hijab.
Exactly, or the one that's like an Allah hijab but deceptively pointy in the back.
Yeah.
It's using absurdity to fight absurdity, right? It's partly a coping mechanism for him, I think, processing his own fear and helplessness. But it's also sharp social commentary. It kind of short-circuits prejudice by showing how ridiculous it is.
It's a powerful way to use satire.
Yeah.
So it really makes you think, doesn't it? How do we balance our own love and concern for people with their right to live out their convictions, especially when there's risk involved?
That's a tough question. No easy answers there. 3. The quest for peace of mind. Therapy, faith, and existential dissonance.
So beyond those external pressures, he also delves into his internal world, his mental health journey specifically. He talks about being in therapy for 4 years.
Okay.
And apparently his first impression was, this is a scam.
Huh. Relatable for some, maybe.
Maybe. And how he found his therapist. He literally Googled, help, please, please help.
Yeah.
And the algorithm matched him with
Helen.
just Helen.
Yeah.
Just Helen. You know, that initial search, that feeling, it does highlight something important, especially when culture and religion are involved. Therapy needs cultural competence. What do you mean exactly?
Well, a therapist needs to understand that someone's anxieties and their way of seeing the world, even what getting better means to them, it's all shaped by their background. A generic approach might just miss the mark completely, like maybe Helen's did, sometimes.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Because the core of his anxiety, he says, is this conflict. Feeling like he's not as good of a Muslim as I was raised to be, but also feeling like he is still fundamentally a good person.
Mm-hmm. That internal clash.
And then he hits this huge theological issue from his upbringing. This idea that everything is written before we're even born. Predestination.
Right, a major concept in Islam and other faiths too.
So it leads him to this really heavy question. Is he basically doomed to make these mistakes that God wrote for me? Like, where's the free will?
That's a massive existential weight. And it's not unique to him, right? That struggle between fate, free will, personal responsibility. It's a universal human thing people wrestle with, inside or outside of religion. But when your personal identity starts diverging from the beliefs you inherited, that creates serious internal friction, cognitive dissonance. And seeing him explore that through comedy is quite something.
And it seems Helen, his therapist, didn't quite connect with the specifics of this. He gives these funny examples.
Like what?
Like her asking about the Allah character, her words, and saying, sounds toxic. Why would you hang out with a guy like that?
Oof. Okay. It's clearly missing some context there.
Just a bit. And the final straw. The moment he knew there was a disconnect, she asked him his astrological sign.
No.
And his response, totally exasperated, it was just, Helen, come on, we can't both be mentally ill.
Haha. Okay, that's pretty funny. But yeah, it really points to that communication gap when the fundamental frameworks aren't shared or understood. Yeah. 4. Woke flat earthers and the nuances of outrage.
So he's grappling with these big personal things, but he also looks outwards at society. And he starts thinking about anger, specifically, like, what's the right thing to get angry about?
That's a relevant question these days.
For sure. He brings up the whole Kyrie Irving thing when Kyrie shared that anti-Semitic documentary.
I remember that.
But then he connects it back to Kyrie's previous comments about the Earth being flat.
Ah, interesting connection. Where does he go with that?
Well, he has this kind of aha moment. He realizes, look, if someone genuinely believes the Earth is flat, should we really be that surprised if they also hold other, let's say, fringe or conspiratorial views, like denying the Holocaust?
Okay, I see his logic. It's like one extreme belief might make others less shocking, perhaps.
Sort of. It led him to coin this term, woke flat earthers.
Woke flat earthers, what does that mean?
His idea is that it's actually quite rare to find someone who holds like a really out there conspiratorial belief like flat Earth, but is also super progressive and accepting on all social issues.
Huh. So it's about a kind of consistency in belief systems. Maybe if someone's prone to conspiratorial thinking in one area, it might bleed into others.
That seems to be his observation, yeah. That these belief systems often hang together in unexpected ways. It's a really sharp point, actually.
It is a quirky but insightful framing.
Then he pivots to the Kanye West situation. And he admits, look, he's been a Kanye apologist basically his whole life.
Okay, joins the club with many, probably.
Right, but then Kanye makes these explicitly anti-Semitic comments. I'm going DEFCON 3 on the Jews. And the comedian's like, whoa, can even I defend this? It really tested his fandom.
That was a moment that tested a lot of people's relationship with Kanye's music and persona.
Definitely. But here's where it gets really nuanced, and this is important context he provides, not justification.
Okay.
He talks about his family's history. His family's from Lebanon. His mother lived through the 1982 Israeli invasion. Tanks in her village, soldiers in their home.
Wow. That's heavy history.
Extremely. He even tells this story about an Israeli missile hitting his grandmother's house and just not detonating. A dud.
My goodness.
So he explains that this personal, generational trauma, it shapes how he processes things related to Israel, and by extension, how he reacted to someone like Kanye making those statements. It doesn't excuse the statements, but it provides a different lens for his personal reaction.
That makes sense. It shows how our own histories, especially traumatic ones, can create these really complex, sometimes contradictory seeming responses to public figures and events. It's not simple outrage math for everyone.
Exactly. It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How do our own deep stories, the things maybe people don't even know about us, shape how we react to the world, to controversies, to figures we admire or condemn?
It absolutely does. Personal history is a powerful filter. The unintended reveal, a comedian's vulnerability and artistry.
So wrapping up this deep dive, he ends with a much lighter story, but it's actually pretty revealing. It's about traveling for stand-up.
Okay, the life on the road.
Yeah, and he had this little system for efficiency at the airport. Sometimes his phone background would be his boarding pass,
Yeah.
Easy scanning. And other times, like right before a show, he'd put his joke list, just keywords, as his background. Quick reference.
Ah, practical. Also shows how intertwined the job is with just like daily logistics.
Totally. It's not glamorous, right?
Yeah.
Just functional.
The reality of being a working comic.
Exactly. But then comes the punchline. He forgets to switch the background. He gets to the airport gate, holds up his phone for the employee, and they're looking at his joke list.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. And the keywords listed, they're basically a perfect summary of everything we've just talked about.
Tell away, like what?
Like Islamic school, prove them all wrong, bulletproof the job, my therapist is the crazy one, and Israel payback.
Wow. That's the whole show right there on his lock screen.
Pretty much. It's this accidental moment of pure honesty, super vulnerable, incredibly human, just lays it all bare by mistake.
What a great encapsulation.
So that brings us to the end of this journey. We've really gone through a lot with this comedian, haven't we? Seeing how he uses humor as this lens on everything: identity, family, faith, prejudice, all those internal battles.
It's really powerful. It underscores that great comedy. It does more than just make you laugh. It makes you think. It pushes back on assumptions, finds common ground sometimes, even when talking about really divisive things.
Yeah.
It offers this unique space, to tackle sensitive, politically charged stuff, not by taking sides necessarily, but by showing the human impact, the personal story behind it all. That can be incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. So as we finish up, maybe here's something for you, the listener, to chew on. How could embracing our own contradictions, our own vulnerabilities, the way this comedian does so openly on stage, maybe open up new ways for us to understand ourselves and maybe understand each other a bit better too?
That's a good question.
What role can humor play, not just in pointing out divides, but maybe, sometimes, in helping us see across them, or at least reflect on them with a little more empathy? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.